Lisa Page strikes back. That is the topic of today's op-ed live. So Fox News came out today that President Trump hit back after former FBI lawyer Lisa Page went to the Daily Beast to break her silence over the controversy involving her infamous Trump-bashing text messages with ex-special agent Peter Strzok. So they were having an affair. Lisa Page, I think she's married. Peter Strzok is married. They had an affair in the FBI. And we're talking about the text messages that were exchanged between Lisa Page and Peter Strzok. They exchanged 50,000 text messages. No wonder Peter Strzok's wife caught him in the act. Okay. So while a prior Justice Department Inspector General's report did not find that Lisa Page's political leanings affected her work, we're talking about the Inspector General report. It's going to come out December 9th, but there has been some reports coming out from Washington Post and Fox News regarding the content of the IG report. So they reached a different conclusion regarding Peter Strzok, who has since been terminated. And both Peter Strzok and Lisa Page had worked on the investigations of Hillary Clinton's email scandal and also Trump campaign's possible ties to Russian election interference. But as I already told you again and again and again, that there was no Russia meddling. I don't even believe the Mueller report. I really don't. They're in cahoots with the Hillary Clinton campaign and the DNC. The actual leader in that special counsel team, I do not believe that Robert Mueller was the leader there. It was Andrew Weissman, the number 2 guy. He was called the pit bull for Robert Mueller. He was the leader in that special counsel team. And do you know where he was during election night in 2016? At the Hillary Clinton campaign in New York. Can you believe that? So of course he had a political agenda. I do not believe, I really don't. It's very hard to believe the FBI and the CIA or whatever they say these days because they're so tied in with the establishment. Think about how they tried to connect Trump with Russia. Not just with Carter Page. Carter Page, about the Steele dossier, right? Even that's also a hoax. Carter Page is not a Russian agent. By the way, he actually worked for the FBI. They used the Steele dossier to spy on Carter Page, which means pretty much spying on President Trump. I mean, at that time, candidate Trump, and Steve Bannon, and all these characters. And now there's another. There's another figurehead called George Mifsud. You gotta remember this name. You gotta remember the characters: Lisa Page, Peter Strzok, Andy McCabe, James Comey. You gotta know the important characters here to put this all. You gotta put this puzzle all together. You gotta know these characters. So George Mifsud is, according to the mainstream media, he is a Russian agent. And he approached who? George Papadopoulos, who's running for the 25th District California congressional election. So George Papadopoulos was approached by George Mifsud. And the mainstream media, like the Washington Post, New York Times, CNN, they claim that George Mifsud is a Russian agent, but that has not been proven. And George Papadopoulos believes that George Mifsud was a Western agent, probably CIA, probably MI6. He doesn't know. But he said definitely not Russian. He doesn't talk Russian. He doesn't even have a Russian accent. That's what he said. Now, he's MIA. We don't know. Nobody knows right now where Mifsud is. I believe probably CIA knows it, but they're pretending. I think John Brennan is behind it. I think James Clapper was behind it. These deep state characters, they were all behind this George Mifsud character. And that's how they created that's where it started, according to the mainstream media. The Russia hoax, the Trump campaign, Russia collusion hoax started there. Isn't it kind of amazing that everybody knows about Trump campaign, Russia collusion, but they do not know where it predicated, where it started? I'm telling you here right now. It started here and there, but if you look at the timeline, It actually started from George Mifsud, okay? And we don't know what kind of character this guy is. The mainstream media used to say that he's a Russian agent. Now they're saying he's an intermediary person. It changes by the day. I believe he was a Western agent who was probably in cahoots with John Brennan, the former CIA director, and probably James Clapper, the former DNI director. Okay? So Lisa Page, of course, the Inspector General is going to mention about her because that's what they're investigating right now, right? Michael Horowitz, I think he finished his investigation, the Inspector General, and he's trying to, in this IG report, it will be about the FISA application. You know, why did they use a fake fabricated Steele dossier to get a warrant? And they asked for extension 3 more times, right? And not just that, I think Michael Horowitz was also investigating the text messages between Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, whether they were trying to bring down then candidate Trump. And even after he got elected, I think Michael Horowitz wanted to find out whether they tried to still bring him down. Because in the text messages between Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, what did they say? Peter Strzok said Hillary's going to win 100 million to 0. And Lisa Page was worried, hey, what if still Trump becomes president? And you know what Peter Strzok said? We're going to stop it. We're going to stop it. And where's the mainstream media on this? They would never report these kind of real news because they're in cahoots with the Democratic Party. I can't even say the Democratic Party. They're in cahoots with the deep state, okay? The mainstream media. They're deep state papers, you know, NYT, WAPO, always trying to cover it up for them. So when Lisa Page, this is what Donald Trump tweeted. When Lisa Page, the lover of Peter Strzok, talks about being crushed and how innocent she is, ask her to read Peter's insurance policy text, right? You remember the insurance policy, that they're going to have an insurance policy to bring down President Trump? I believe that insurance policy was the Robert Mueller investigation. And this is what President Trump thinks as well. He continues. Also, why were the lovers' text messages scrubbed after he left Mueller? Where are they, Lisa? Okay. And Sean Hannity, Fox News Sean Hannity is probably one of the best out there who breaks news after news in his program, especially regarding this FISA thing. I think it was Sarah Carter and John Solomon who came out on his show on a daily basis. So please, rather than spending your time reading the New York Times, Washington Post, or watching CNN, it's much better to spend your time watching Fox News, or especially Hannity. He has been breaking news after news, especially about this issue. You know, this is what he reported. Former FBI lawyer Lisa Page is neither innocent nor a victim. This is what Hannity said yesterday in his monologue. And he offered to educate the journalists and the so-called mob in the media. You know what? I think they know that what they're doing is not honest journalism, but they still do it anyway. That's how corrupt the American media is right now. Probably, you know, being Washington Post being in the swamp city, D.C., Washington, D.C., and New York Times being in New York, I think that has something to do with it as well. You know, CNN. And to a lesser extent, you know, there are all over, you know, there are other deep state papers here and there. But I digress. So Lisa Page is neither innocent nor a victim. This is what Sean Hannity said, okay? She carried out what was a lengthy affair with the top investigator at the FBI named Peter Strzok. Their personal business is their business, but the two of them inserted their rampant political bias into highly sensitive, top-notch investigations, including the probe into Hillary Clinton's secret server. You know what? I really think, you know, our viewers probably know most of these stories. I really want the Democrats and people who got brainwashed by the mainstream media to watch Michael Wan's op-ed. I really do. To wake them up. You know, I've been following politics very closely since the 90s, and many people don't even know. I mean, I'm talking about Americans, especially in the coastal area, like California and New York. They really do not know American politics, how it works. They don't read a book about it. I mean, it's a shame. it's tragic in a way. So they don't have a chance to listen to talk radio, like Rush Limbaugh, or Glenn Beck. They don't have a chance to listen to the other point of view. So what do they watch? What do they watch and read? They watch CNN, they watch the 3 major networks, New York Times, Washington Post. Now, a couple days ago, CBS even attacked YouTube because there's a lot of conservative voices and alternate media out there who's actually exposing the truth. And now they're trying to even diminish their credibility. It's really a shame. The CBS is a horrible network. Somebody said CBS stands for Complete Bull S. Well, I'm going to continue with the Fox News report. In an interview published late Sunday, Lisa Page, the ex-FBI lawyer who carried on an extramarital affair with former FBI head of counterintelligence Peter Strzok, said it was not fathomable that she broke the law. She had an interview with who? Among all the media out there, she went with Daily Beast, one of the deep state fake news media out there. She interviewed with the reporter there. I think her name was Murray Chang, one of the anti-Trumpers. I didn't even finish that article. I just read half of it and said, I don't want to waste my time. But I'm just giving you the main points. So Hannity continued. And by the way, if you want real obstruction, that would be the bleach bit that deleted subpoena emails, etc. Do you know bleach bit? That Hillary Clinton used that to erase 33,000 emails. She used hammer to destroy her devices. I don't think she personally did it, but probably her henchmen did it. Most people don't even know this. When I talk about these issues with people who I meet, they don't know about this. They know the Trump-Russia collusion, but they don't know, they just kind of think probably Russia hacked into the computer system and changed the numbers. They really don't dive deep. But in American politics, if you want to know it correctly, you do have to dive deeply to know what's going on. What the content about WikiLeaks was about. That's actually the reason why they came out with the Russia collusion too, right? This is what Lisa Page tweeted to, texted to Peter Strzok. This is from March of 2016. Lisa Page wrote this: God, Trump is a loathsome human being. And then Peter Strzok responded this: oh my God, Trump's an idiot. God, Hillary should win 100 million to 0. Okay? And there's another text message. The two wrote back and forth that they will stop Trump being elected. This is what Peter Strzok said. Okay, we will stop him. We will stop him. Insurance policy. Okay. So Hannity said this: these texts between two low-level employees in the federal government, these were two of the most powerful individuals working at the highest levels of the FBI. They were at the special counsel team, by the way, right? And before that, in the FBI, into Trump-Russia collusion probe. They were in that team. By the way, the lead investigator was Peter Strzok. And before that, they investigated Hillary Clinton email scandal. And he was also the lead investigator there. They hurried up, they wanted to finish the Hillary Clinton email scandal ASAP, and then they jumped into Trump-Russia collusion nonsense. This is really tragic. What's going on in American media right now is really tragic. It's one-sided. The mainstream media, they're nothing but a Democratic marketing team. And I don't know when it started, exactly when, but the press has been leaning left. Leaning left is okay, but being outright corrupt is a totally different matter. And Washington Post broke another news last night. So this is not fake. This is not fake news, even though it's from the deep state media, Washington Post. So it's William Barr disputing key Inspector General finding about FBI's Russia investigation. This is written by Devlin Barrett and Karun Demirjian. So Attorney General William Barr has told associates he disagrees with the Justice Department's Inspector General on one of the key findings in an upcoming report. That the FBI had enough information in July of 2016 to justify launching an investigation into members of the Trump campaign, according to people familiar with the matter. Okay? So the Justice Department's Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, is due to release his long-awaited findings in a week. It's actually coming out on December 9th. But behind the scenes at the Justice Department, disagreement has surfaced about one of Horowitz's central conclusions on the origins of the Russia investigation. Okay? So Michael Horowitz, the Inspector General, believes that the predicate was legit, that Trump was supposed to spy on. Trump campaign was supposed to be spied on. That's pretty much what he's saying. But William Barr disagrees because I believe William Barr knows more. You know John Durham, the U.S. District Attorney? John Durham and William Barr, they have uncovered many, many things regarding this Russia collusion hoax nonsense. And I think some of the things that they uncovered are the things that Michael Horowitz doesn't know yet. So William Barr and John Durham knows more. They are seeing the bigger picture of the origin of this Russia collusion fabrication. I believe made by CIA, FBI, and the deep state, Democratic Party all together, combined. So that's why William Barr disagrees. I think it's very good news. I think we have a very righteous Attorney General right now in the United States. We are all lucky for that. We are all lucky for that. And I think he's getting to the bottom of it. I'm talking about John Durham. John Durham is going to get to the bottom of it. He's going to impanel a grand jury. There's going to be prosecutions, because do you know why? They changed this probe from an administrative review to a full-fledged criminal investigation, okay? Because John Durham probably found something, and William Barr probably found something. And the things that they found out about, I don't think Michael Horowitz knows about. And by the way, Michael Horowitz was appointed by Barack Obama, so probably he wanted to cover it up for him. I don't know. To me, there seems to be a little bit like, a component of that. That's how I see it. Okay, let's check out some news headlines and Twitter feeds. Okay, Trump tweeted this. Donald Trump was framed back in 2016. This is what Maria Bartiromo said. 100% correct, Maria. And we can never let this happen to another president again. Yeah, Trump was framed in 2016. It's a shame that most of the foreign press out there, most of the journalists out there, they don't know American politics. I think, they just don't. They just they're brainwashed by CNN, by the likes of CNN, New York Times, and Washington Post, but they don't know American politics. And I think if you don't know about American politics, they shouldn't even cover it. Let's move on to the next page. So Trump was framed, by the way. So shifts impeachment hearings, wasting time when Congress must do real work. Trump tweeted this. Okay, let's move on. Senator Tim Scott, one of the African-American Republican senators, Tim Scott, right? Actually, he's the only one, right? Senator Tim Scott says Trump innocent, no way Senate convicts. Let's move on. The White House tweeted this. The men and women of our military are totally loyal to our country. And every day I am president, America will always be totally loyal to you, President Trump. So President Trump went to Afghanistan last Thanksgiving. But what did weekly magazine, the Newsweek, said? They reported that Trump was just playing golf and tweeting. But that was fake news. Let's move on. Ronna McDaniel, the GOP chairwoman, tweeted this. Just 8 work days left on Congress calendar this year. Instead of attacking Donald Trump, Pelosi should work across the aisle for once and vote on USMCA. The American people want it passed. It's actually 7 days now. Okay, let's move on. Team Trump tweeted this. 1 year ago, today, President Trump signed the USMCA with Canada and Mexico and now sits on Nancy Pelosi's desk collecting dust. Why won't Speaker Pelosi pass the USMCA and help America's workers? Let's move on. President Trump's deregulatory agenda unleashed American ingenuity, and we are on path to becoming not just energy independent, but energy dominant under this president. America's back. This is what Vice President Mike Pence tweeted. And look at the Bloomberg report. U.S. posts first month in 70 years as a net petroleum exporter. Let's move on. Waters World. Jesse Waters, he's one of the good commentators out there. At real Donald Trump won't get the nomination. Trump won't win. Stock market will tank. Russia collusion. These are the stories pushed hard by the media that never happened. Let's move on. Team Trump, President Trump will host a Keep America Great rally actually on Tuesday, December 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time at the Giant Center in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Let's move on. Just wanted to inform you that. Ivanka Trump tweeted this. A year ago today, Trump signed the USMCA trade agreement with Canadian and Mexican leaders. USMCA will make more and better American jobs, $68.2 billion of economic boost, higher wages. This is a major win for American workers. Tell House Democrats to get it done, but I don't think they will. Let's move on. They're so hell-bent on the impeachment process, impeachment probe. Kayleigh McEnany tweeted this. How is this guy a candidate for president? You should watch this. Then you will see how completely. I think Joe Biden is suffering from probably dementia. I think he is just not pithy in his talks. I don't know what he's trying to talk about. He was talking about his hairy leg. I can't even summarize it. Let's move on. And look at the views there, more than 7 million views already. Paul Sperry tweeted this. Breaking, congressional investigators believe they have cause to investigate and subpoena the whistleblower to testify concerning the fact he concealed a material fact on his sworn ICIG intake form by failing to disclose his contacts with Schiff staff as required. The whistleblower contacted with Adam Schiff people, right? He did not disclose that in the beginning. Let's move on. George Papadopoulos, who was spied on, I already told you, there was one person on this planet that lived the spy scandal that rocked the world. It's me. And I am telling you that the CIA and MI6 was behind it. I believe that too. Focus on the global nature of the spying. Australia, Ukraine, Italy, and the UK all had skin in the game for a Clinton presidency. You remember the Democratic Party? They colluded with Ukraine to dig up dirt on Trump. By the way, to try to connect Trump with Russia. It's so heinous. They're the one who created the Russia collusion thing. And Italy, by the way, seems like they also played a major role. And I believe that will be also exposed in the upcoming John Durham report. Let's move on. Dan Bongino, who used to be a Secret Service for Barack Obama, actually, but now he's a conservative commentator, former New York PD officer. I don't know what he saw in the White House. Probably he didn't like what he's seen. Probably that's why he left the Secret Service. I don't know, but this is what he tweeted. I'm convinced that the general public, largely due to media malfeasance, has no idea how awful the Spygate scandal really is. What the Dems, some rhinos, and the media did is mind-boggling in its depravity. They can't keep it a secret forever. Let's move on. Lindsey Graham seeks transcripts of Joe Biden calls with Ukraine leader. Donald Trump, he released the transcript between the conversation between Trump and the Ukrainian president, right? So why not Joe Biden? Let's find out, Don't you want to know? Whether he told the Ukrainian leader back then that, hey, you better not investigate my son. Don't you want to know whether he threatened that? Or if you do that, you're not going to get $1 billion. I mean, he already actually said that, right? Right out in public. That's how stupid this guy is. Let's move on. White House won't participate in first judiciary impeachment hearing led by Jerry Nadler, one of the original anti-Trumpers, right? But even back since since the 90s, he was against Trump, right? That was regarding different issues. But, okay, let's move on to the next page. George Papadopoulos tweeted this. Who better than me to question John Brennan and James Clapper under oath? Support me for California 25th congressional election, and I will fight for you as I have been doing for the country all my life. Time to shake things up. I think he is a good candidate, and I think he will do a much better job than Katie Hill, who got kicked out of Congress because of her sexual misdeeds. Okay, let's move on. Jordan Sather tweeted this. This is a photo sent to me of a QAnon meetup held today in Holland. You know, the mainstream media is starting to attack QAnon a lot because QAnon came back. I believe QAnon is like much more accurate than the mainstream media out there. And I personally believe that they do have connections with President Trump. I do. Trump keeps on mentioning the number 17, alphabetical order. The 17th number is actually Q. And Melania Trump also tweeted a picture yesterday that showed the number 17, with a dice there. I think there's something to it, I do believe they put out a lot of nonsense too, misinformation. So I always tell my viewers, our readers, please do not believe 100% of what they're spewing, what the QAnon post is putting out there. But yeah, I think it's a positive movement. They're trying to go against the deep state. Why are you trying to bring them down? And CBS wanted to have that program attacking YouTube because of those groups, QAnon groups. I think it's a positive thing. Let's move on. Lisa Page speaks. This was what I was talking about. There's no fathomable way I have committed any crime at all. She strikes back. I believe she did commit criminal act, but let's see what happens. Let's see whether William Barr would charge her. Let's move on. Educating Liberals tweeted this. Pete Buttigieg has no problem criticizing Mike Pence on LGBT rights, whatever the hell that means, but he won't address Sharia law for imprisoning, stoning, hanging, beheading, and throwing homosexuals from rooftops. I wonder why. Let's move on. Cheryl Atkinson, formerly working for the CBS News, tweeted this. I'm pretty surprised to hear journalists justify Newsweek mistake saying Trump was golfing when he was in Afghanistan as honest mistake and not an issue because the trip was a secret. That's why you don't write stories assuming facts and without attribution. Let's move on. Newsweek actually fired the reporter, okay? Newsweek fires reporter after publishing mistakes in story about Trump's Thanksgiving plans. Let's move on. Mark Dykes tweeted this. You could personally pay off the student loans of 500 kids and still have well over $10 million to your name, Mr. Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo, who played Hulk in the Avengers movie series, he's so anti-Trump, right? Whenever he opens his mouth, I think he bashes Trump. I mean, he doesn't give specific reason. He just, I think they're probably told to. They're ordered to bash Trump by whoever, is working over him. I don't know. But this is what Mark Ruffalo tweeted. It's time for an economic revolution. Capitalism today is failing us, killing us, and robbing from our children's future. So that's why Mark Dice replied that way. Let's move on. Okay, sample U.S. foreign aid from 2000 to 2016. Nigeria, they got $6.2 billion from the United States. Ethiopia, $11.7 billion. Jordan, $15.9 billion. Egypt, $33.3 billion. Lebanon, $3.6 billion. Pakistan, $17.9 billion. Colombia, $13.6 billion. South Africa, $6.2 billion. And Trump is asking why. I believe these money probably a chunk of them goes to the bureaucrats and probably, I don't know, probably CIA or who knows. I wish somebody can figure that out. Let's move on. Lisa Mae Crowley tweeted this. How is this not election meddling? CBS News. They said 300 plus Trump ads have been taken down by Google and YouTube for violating company policy. Why do they always attack the right, the Trump people or conservatives, not the left? Right? Don't you wonder? Let's move on. LA for Trump tweeted this. James Comey and John Brennan have not tweeted since November 15th. Anyone else? Anyone see them? Just asking. And look at those characters. Michael Horowitz, and William Barr, John Durham, and John Huber. They're the ones who is investigating this whole Russia collusion nonsense. Okay. Let's move on. Epoch Times tweeted this. Hunter Biden reportedly wants all of his financial records kept secret. Biden requested a protective order for his financial records. You know, the mainstream media, they don't want to cover these kind of stories, right? They never want to cover whether Biden got $83,000 per month. You know, they don't want to dig anything. They don't want to do any actual journalism. Isn't that quid pro quo? And Joe Biden threatening, you know, if you keep on investigating Burisma, if you're not going to stop this investigation, then we're not going to give you $1 billion. And you have 6 hours to decide that. Isn't that quid pro quo? Isn't that threatening another nation? And by the way, Ukraine is considered to be one of the most corrupted countries out there. Why do you want to add more corruption to that? And it seems like that's what exactly the Obama administration was doing. You know, they're playing crony capitalism to this poor country. And that's why they voted a 41-year-old comedian to be their new president. Okay? If you didn't know, by the way. Okay, so Biden requested a protective order for his financial records, arguing that his financial information would be used maliciously by media outlets if it was made public. Okay, well, that's our show for today. Our show is not about left or right. It's about being right or wrong. To stay up to date with our latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel by clicking subscribe. Thanks for tuning in.